Hello everyone, welcome back to another session. In this session we will discuss different types of blockchain. In spite of blockchain's promise of decentralization, private institutions including banks have come to realize that they can leverage the core idea behind the blockchain and apply it to improve their legacy systems. Unfortunately, the public nature of blockchain does not offer the required privacy, access levels and exclusiveness required for their applications. But they can still leverage the blockchain using his permission, private or consortium form. Each of these blockchain networks have their own set of features and advantages over one another. In this session we will cover these features. First, let's look at the public blockchain. A public blockchain is the first one in the blockchain domain. It removes the centralized management and has its network open for anyone to join. This type of blockchain is fully decentralized, permissionless and open source. Any user can be part of the system and access blockchain to perform operations like reading and writing on it. Users are free to create, validate and view transactions at any point. Being a decentralized system, decision-making on the state of blockchain happens to a consensus mechanism, such as proof of work or POW or proof of stake or POS. Although the network is open to the public, the identities of the participants are pseudonymous. However, the anonymity of participants is both a boon of this type of network, as it might involve malicious transactions and can be a threat to the reputation of the system. Examples of blockchain applications that utilize the public blockchain network are Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ethereum, and almost every other known alternative digital currency. Next, we have a private blockchain. In this type of system, only the sole in charge of the network can read, write, and audit the blockchain. This central entity decides who can create transactions or validate or view them by giving permission to access to the selected nodes. As it is essentially private, consensus is achieved at the discretion of the person in charge or through voting or a multi-party consensus algorithm. Private blockchain networks are usually applied to internal systems of a single private company. Such a database management and auditing. Critics have mixed reactions to considering private blockchain as a blockchain-based technology. With its centralized and exclusive nature, it fundamentally defeats the purpose of the original blockchain technology, or decentralization is its core offering. However, private blockchain networks are only centralized in the sense that their permissions are vested in a central trusted entity. Private blockchains offer the advantage of cryptographic auditing and identities. The nature of this type of system also makes it hard to tamper with data but easier to validate transactions, making the system faster and more cost-effective. The private networks allow users to provide significant permissions, like authorizing the nodes connecting to the network. Nodes are nothing but different computers connected together inside the peer-to-peer network running blockchain codes. Every node has its own database for the blockchain that's running for. In a private blockchain, you can provide authorization as to who can read the data and who can transfer the data. For example, users can even provide authorization in a way that only person A has the permission to transfer money while person B can only view the data. The private blockchain has less security as compared to the public one, as we make it easily accessible to a certain group of people, are not millions. Also, if you are using a private blockchain, then you can have the same kind of security as a public blockchain or Bitcoin, and one authorized node can be the arbitrator for any dispute. For example, if person A is transferring a Bitcoin to person B and then transfers the same Bitcoin to person C, this transaction is verified by different nodes confirming that person A cannot transfer the same Bitcoins to person C, because he's already transferred them to person, because proof is achievable with any number of nodes in a public blockchain. But in a private blockchain, the authorized node has to verify the dispute. As far as the cost is concerned, if you were hosting a private network, fewer people will be connected, reducing the peer-to-peer connections and making it less expensive to add a transaction to a blockchain. So let's say if you have 10 miners available, then the people who are confirming your transactions over the blockchain don't have to solve a complex puzzle, unlike a Bitcoin. They will have a very simple solution, achievable within a few seconds, to confirm your transactions. The private blockchain will have one or more private entities who will own the blockchain and host a private solution depending on the needs and demands of the company. Hence, nobody can access this blockchain without your permission. Now, let's look at federated or consortium blockchain. A federated or consortium blockchain is a permissioned and groupon system where sole autonomy is removed and instead, permissions are vested in a group of companies or individuals. More than one central entity is in charge of deciding and provided read, write, and audit access to pre-selected nodes in the blockchain. Only members of the consortium can make, validate, and review transactions. Here, consensus among participants is achieved through voting or a multi-party consensus mechanism for which the rules are decided after an agreement by the participants. For example, in a consortium of 20 financial institutions, a transaction is only added to the blockchain if more than 15 institutions have validated. Federated or consortium blockchains offer the same benefits offered by private blockchains. That is, efficiency and privacy of transactions. However, it provides the added benefit of removing the consolidation of power to only one company. This type of blockchain network is ideal for organizational collaboration. Let's summarize. If we talk about access, in a public blockchain, anyone can access the network and participate in reading, writing, and auditing the blockchain, whereas at a private blockchain, only a single person can access the network and participate in reading, writing, and auditing the blockchain. If we talk about the federated or consortium blockchain, more than one central in charge will provide access to pre-selected nodes to read, write, and audit the blockchain. Now, if we talk about participants, who can join the blockchain, the public blockchain network is open to all and anyone can anonymously create, validate, and view transactions. In private and consortium blockchain, permission to known identities can participate in the transaction validation, creation, and view. If we talk about security on the public blockchain, it is achieved through a consensus mechanism. In private and consortium blockchain, only the sole in charge of the network can decide who can perform operations on the blockchain. If we talk about consensus, in public blockchain transaction validation, decision-making happens to a consensus algorithm, such as proof of work or proof of stake. In private blockchain and in federated and consortium blockchain, consensus is achieved through a voting or multi-party consensus algorithm. Last is transaction speed. The public blockchain is slow, whereas private and consortium blockchains are lighter and faster. That was all for this session. Thank you.